Welcome into the Hong Kong Fusion Podcast with your hosts, Dave, Jack, and Tyler.
What's up, everyone? It's almost football time. Week 1, tomorrow, Lions and Chiefs. Travis Kelce, questionable, but we'll see. How we doing?
What's going on, everyone? One day away, one more sleep.
I still have not finished the deck.
Deck still unfinished. Taylor still unhappy. But
That won't change once the deck's done either.
that's fair.
Three
but
more
Tyler's
sleeps for the deck.
yes. How many more sleeps are we looking at for the deck?
One.
Oh yeah?
Oh, tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'll be finished.
Very nice. Tyler's back on the podcast, and he's been at Ed's house. No service.
He needs to update his Wi-Fi badly.
Well, we were talking about this earlier this week, and I think it came up on last week's podcast, but with the league name being Hong Kong Fusion, wanted to go through the origin story of how that came to be. And quite frankly, I don't really have a good memory of that, so feel free to take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember exactly. I know who created it. It was long lost friend Dave E.
Shout out to Dave.
Shout out to
Shout
Dave.
out.
Rest in peace. He's alive, but
He's not dead.
Not
but
us.
he's not. Yeah. If you're listening, come back.
Wolf.
But I think you would have to know Dave to. If I just said that he randomly named this Hong Kong Fusion, and you don't know Dave, you would be very confused. But if you do know Dave, you'd be like, "Oh, that makes sense." I'm pretty sure he just came up with a name.
I think so. And then it is actually a Chinese restaurant
Yeah.
in our neighborhood. Well, near us.
Yep.
Near the college neighborhood.
There's one. It must be a chain because there's one like
Yeah,
5 minutes from my house.
just like best food in town.
#1 Mandarin cuisine. As an aside, I feel like Chinese food places do have the most unoriginal names.
Agree.
A lot of repeats, but totally
That's-
like unaffiliated with the others of the same name.
Yeah. And speaking of names, I am still the only team name that has anything to do with the league name. Duck sauce, baby. Future
I really
champion.
do like the team names that incorporate the players.
See,
Kinda
I'm
just-
the opposite. I think they're so corny.
I only like them when they're good. Like,
I just don't ever
what do
like.
we have?
They're not great
Yeah.
across the board.
They're not. Like the Pancake Bandito is much better than T Law and Order.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's a
puns
good
are
name.
just so stupid. I don't know.
That's totally
Anyway.
fair.
Let's not be old men for an
There.
hour.
We got
Yeah.
decks to build.
Yes, we have decks to build, we have sleeps to perform, and we have matchups to review.
Jesus
Matchup
Christ.
preview.
Jack, why don't you take us through? Oh no, that's
All right,
terrible.
welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Jack, why don't you take us through
All right.
your matchup with Todd?
I'm gonna pass that back to you. I gotta step away for a moment.
Tyler, why don't you take us through your matchup with Nick?
Sure. Well, first off, shout out to Travis Kelce's knee for going the wrong direction because that really helps me, I think.
I would say.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, how to preview the matchup. I think Nick has a very good team. We both have running quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson versus Fields. We both have. Wow. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, what do I?
This is great
This is
audio right now.
disaster. It is.
Yeah.
I think the strength of his team was probably Kelsey, and then just having like solid position players. Taking Kelsey out is helpful. It basically just eliminated his first overall pick. I am starting great receivers and then have hopefully good running backs who kind of can step up. Budget tight end that I just picked up today.
Yep.
So
Tyler Higbee.
we'll see. Yeah, I pretty much just need my receivers to carry my team, and he needs everyone to carry to pick up the load for Kelsey's 40 points that were just eliminated from his team.
Yeah. Speaking of eliminating first round picks from a team,
Oh God, good transition.
into my matchup here. Thank you. It's 2 for 2 in transition so far. My matchup, who I had very much hoped to be able to enjoy Cooper Kupp this season. Definitely not going to have him for a week 1 against Kyle. Championship rematch, by the way, from 2022 season. But I'm very happy that I was able to grab Deontay Johnson late. I feel like he's kind of like discount Cooper Kupp in PPR. He could definitely catch 9 or 10 passes and be pretty good, and they should be throwing against San Fran. So definitely worried about running backs for sure. And
God, that's a gauntlet.
Eckler, Henry, and then Jalen Hurts. I think Kyle definitely has clear advantage there. But wide receiver, I definitely like mine. AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and he's got Terry McLaurin, who's banged up, DeAndre Hopkins, who is on a low volume passing offense, and then Tyler Lockett, who should be good. I also like my advantage at tight end, but Kyle Pitts could go for 1,000 yards any week if he has a quarterback to throw him the ball. So I think that could play a big role as well, the Hawkinson Pitts matchup.
Yeah, I was
So we'll
gonna ask how mad would you be if this is the blow up week for Kyle Pitts?
I would not be mad at all. These kind of things do happen to me for sure. We'll talk about one of those items a bit later in trivia, actually. Spoiler alert.
Interesting.
But Jack, you missed Tyler straight up acknowledged that he had no idea how to talk about a matchup when it was his turn. So go ahead and take it away.
Can't wait
Also,
to listen to that part of the podcast later.
Quality audio.
For those wondering, it's a boy.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, another nephew number 2. I am going
I don't know
to
anything about nephews or sons.
Todd is new to the league this year. It's his inaugural matchup. His team isn't bad. He did draft Jonathan Taylor, who is not playing on Sunday. I'm not sure if anybody is aware of that. He is out. He's starting Deion Jackson in his place, who is a guy that plays football for the Colts. He has Najee Harris, who is bad. And my only main concern is that Christian Watson popped up on the injury report today as questionable with a hamstring, which means I may have to start the Odell Beckham Jr. We'll see. Burrow to Chase is the only way I go down this week, which is definitely possible. But I'm very confident.
You have to be able to start someone other than Odell if Christian Watson's hurt.
Yeah, I can start P. Ryan. I'd probably play P. Ryan. Because it's week 1, Javonte might not get a full.
Well, just also so you don't have to start 2 Ravens pass catchers.
That's a good point, too.
He could also start 2 Ravens tight ends with Isaiah Likely in the flex.
I could. I do roster the tight end handcuff.
I'm playing Marvin Mims, bro.
It's not a bad idea either.
If I'm you. and I need to insert a nasty boy into the lineup.
Yeah,
It
I
will
like
probably
Marvin
be a
Mims.
Bronco.
Marvin Mims a lot this week. Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, you're like all in on Broncos, dude. Jack loves Russell Wilson, confirmed.
Let's ride.
There's upside. They were cheap in drafts, and there's upside. So
Did you see the? This is already going off the rails. Did you see the Sean Payton quote about like what he said to Russ? I don't know when this happened. I just saw
nah,
like the still image and the quote. But it was basically like, stop kissing babies. You're not fucking running for office. About like him like not like worrying about his brand and just playing football.
that's awesome.
I did see that, and I honestly thought it was like a satire.
It could be. But I think it was like linked to like the not the footage, but an article. Which means it actually definitely happened.
Yeah, if it's online, it's true. So
That's true. If one of the producers could look that up and get back to us, it'd be fantastic.
is Larry? Is Larry back with us this year, a producer?
He should be. He's been on the payroll.
Who knows? I got nothing. I just realized you had Broncos D as well, Jack. So like, that's
All
at least
Broncos, baby.
one half of the
Broncos
team that we
country,
know
let's
is
ride.
good. And I've got Cortland Sutton, so I'm right there with you. All right, well, best of luck to the three of you this week. I also
Likewise.
thought with the little comments we had about the Hong Kong Fusion origin story, it would be good to incorporate some of our league history into trivia.
Wonderful.
Fantasy football trivia.
Make sure I stop that before the next one plays, like the first time.
Mhm.
All right. So trivia this week.
Shout out Satan.
Shout out, Satan. Thank you very much. We have got a timeline. So the way
Awesome.
this will work is first timeline on the event there, of course, 2010, when the league began. And I've got several events here in our league's history, memorable moments, things that caused significant pain or things that were great moments for some. And you two will be working together to place them accurately on the timeline. So for example, if I were to give you me beating Kyle in the championship, led by Dr. Schultz with 7 for 56 and 2 touchdowns on Thursday Night Football, would that be before the league began or after?
It's a tough one.
It is.
I think it's after. What do
It
you
is
think?
after. Very nice. So as we go on, this will get harder, but for now, you just need to tell me where the event fits in. Easy enough?
Yep.
All right, next event we have is CJ winning his first championship, and he would win again 2 seasons later. Once again, should be pretty easy.
Well, it happened in between those two events.
It did happen in between those two. All right, next event here. You've got me picking up Elijah McGuire and Robbie Anderson from waivers championship week, and then beating Kyle with those 2 Jets waiver wire players in our highest scoring championship ever, 310 total points.
I believe that is before CJ winning the championships, but I'm conferring with Tyler here.
Pretty sure it's
Because it could
after.
also be.
I think that
it could
happened
be
in
after.
2018.
When did Kenyon Drake return the touchdown against the
I
Patriots?
think it was 2018.
Okay, I'm cool with that. After.
That would be correct. Following up with Kyle beating Jack in the championship by close to 100 points per
Oh,
Kyle,
God.
with top performances by Reggie Bush and Reggie Wayne.
Well,
It was after the league began and before CJ won.
Yeah.
And he forgot to
correct.
mention Reggie Bush. I'd also like to point out that it was legitimately like 220 to 140. Like I didn't have a bad week. He just scored. All of his players had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. When I texted him about it, he said pretty much every one of my players had 35 points. So.
Yep.
All right. Next event, Nick drafts CMC first overall for the second season in a row and loses him to injury for the second season in a row.
well,
Got to be after Dave.
it has to be after, yeah, because he didn't get hurt. He got hurt at the end. Yeah, it was after. I think it was
That's
29.
correct.
Yeah.
All right, next one here. This is where it should get a little harder. Jack finishes in 12th place and is the Sacco. And this would be the first of 2 last place finishes for Mr. Jack in a 3-year period.
This happened after Kyle beat me in the championship, but before CJ won.
Yeah, he was the.
That's correct.
You
Yeah.
were the first like official Sacco, I think.
I was. That is correct.
There we
Because
go.
I did the
Inaugural
punch
Sacco.
him.
Yeah.
That's
That
also
was it.
correct.
The only Sacco.
Well,
There were
Steve
other
did
things
one.
that happened.
He just didn't do the one that he was supposed to do.
True.
Very true. All right, this is another one that involves Jack. Jack defeats Tim in the championship, despite only getting half of a point out of his tight end slot. Although he did have Tim Hightower scoring 29 points.
It was after I was the Sacco and before CJ won the
CJ,
championship.
That's correct.
Little known fact, I was Sacco twice, and the year between being Sacco, I won the championship.
Can confirm. League history on Yahoo, not fun to look through. It's very clunky.
Yes.
All right, next one. CJ defeats Jack in the championship with 35 points from Lamar Jackson and a 41-point performance from Saquon Barkley.
It's got to be 2019.
Yeah, it was 2019.
That is correct. Easy one here. League transitions from Yahoo to Sleeper.
That is 2020.
Yeah.
So before or after Nick taking CMC?
Before.
Well, wait. Sleeper, we were
think.
first on Sleeper last year, weren't we?
Or 2 years ago.
This is our second season on Sleeper, so that would be after
Yeah.
Nick.
Wow.
All right. Ed Scandal number 2
Oh,
is what I'm
God.
calling this one. This is when he used commish powers to edit DJ Chark out of his lineup after he fractured his ankle on one of the first plays of Thursday Night Football.
What year did he get married?
2020.
So it's going to be, yeah, that year.
Yeah.
That's correct. All right. Here's that one that I teased a little bit earlier. I traded Doug Martin to Nick.
Oh,
Nick
my
and I
God.
were matched up against each other the week after. And Doug Martin put up
51-point game?
51 fantasy points. And that was 272 total yards and 4 touchdowns.
Not a bad
Jesus.
week.
Okay, so I'm just going off of when did Doug Martin play?
So I had Doug Martin in 2012 when I made the championship, I think. So I'm gonna say it was. That doesn't really help. It's either before or after.
Yeah, I think it was. Oh man,
I'm gonna say it's 2013.
yeah, I'm thinking after 2012.
That is
Oh,
on the
no.
wrong side of that. That
Mm.
was 2012. Trade was made after week 8, and Doug Martin stole my lunch money in week 9.
Guess
That
I
was a good
didn't have
pull
him
by
that
you,
year.
Tyler. 51 points right on the nose. All right. This timeline is filling up. We've got Kyle gifting Tim a Jeremy Hill poster for Polysanta after Jeremy Hill scored 0.8 points for Tim in championship week.
Okay.
Tim lost the championship like 2 years in a row.
Yeah, well,
I think.
this is probably
Jeremy Hill,
this is
2014.
yeah, I think it's the same year you got Sacco.
Yeah,
This is
lock
a
it
bit
in.
later.
Sacco.
This is a bit later than that.
Really?
Yes, this happened off season
2016?
of in between 16 and 17.
Wow. Jeremy Hill played football then?
He was scoring
Not
0.8
well,
points at the end of the season. I looked at the game logs to confirm this, and it was like week 16 of the 2016 season. He scored so many yards and points like the 3 weeks before. It was insane. He just had a complete letdown for championship week. All right, we've got next. This came from Nick, so if the details are slightly off, you can talk to him. So, quote, Jack talked shit to Pete all weekend and went to bed after Monday Night Football up by half a point. End quote. Pete then beats Jack due to a stat correction overnight.
So I I want to say this was the ESPN days.
This made me
think
laugh
you're
so
right.
hard when Nick texted it to me.
I think it's when I was roommates with Pete.
Yeah,
It
this is
was.
an ESPN days. This is before even Yahoo, I think.
But there's no room between, like on the graphic, between 2012 and 14. That makes me want to say it's
He
before.
could do like a L,
Yeah,
I
I could do
guess.
the little weird
I
arrows.
think it was 2013. Well, the
Yeah.
2012 season, I guess.
Well, wait.
Looking for before or after that 2012 week 16 item.
I
I would say before.
That's correct.
yeah, okay.
And I put sometime in 2012 only because, Tyler, to your point, we were on ESPN and I didn't have the league history. So
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
have accepted that either before or after that Doug Martin fiasco. All right.
That definitely happened. Can confirm Nick's story. That was so sad.
All right. We've got Steven's first title, and I believe only title,
Yeah.
beating Pete with a 20-point performance from Dak, Devin Singletary, and Bears defense.
Well, this just
That would
happened.
be
So he won
2021.
in 2021.
Yeah.
That's correct. James White destroys my soul
my
on Sunday Night
God.
Football and clinches me Sacco.
I don't know.
This one,
Okay.
this was the
I feel like it was
most
like
I've ever
2019.
tilted during
Yeah.
a single game for fantasy purposes ever.
So when did
I'm gonna
you
say before CJ beat me in the championship, but after
have you
you
been
beat
Sacco
Kyle in the
twice, Dave?
championship.
I think maybe early, like early in the league.
So this made you Sacco.
Correct.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
2019.
That's correct.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. CJ
wait.
wins a
Wait a
what,
minute.
what do
Wait.
you got?
So you shit yourself 2020
Oh my
draft?
God. No, this COVID was right after, so everything got put on hold. I was going to do the karaoke thing.
Oh, right. For 2 years you didn't.
Yeah, and it got delayed.
Okay.
All right.
That's where I was thrown
CJ
off.
wins his matchup against Kyle, narrowly avoids being named the Sacco, despite just 15 points from his 2 starting receivers. Meanwhile, Jerry Jeudy on his bench with 3 tutties.
Absolutely no idea.
As a bonus hint, which gives it away, this confirmed TY as the Sacco.
So last year,
Last
week
year.
13 or 14.
Man, I wish you didn't give me that hint because I was gonna say last year.
All right, here's the one that Jack's been waiting for and that I've been waiting for. Miami Miracle. I beat Jack by 0.26 in the first round of the playoffs off of Rob Gronkowski having the mobility of a hippopotamus at the goal line on the Kenyon Drake lateral touchdown.
Fun fact, hippos are very fast.
Well, they don't turn well.
This happened. So I was pissed in the moment, but you defeated Kyle in the championship, and I would not have. So long-term view, I'm okay with it, but it happened like 2018, week 14.
Between the 2017 week 16, yeah.
28 week 14 on the dot. Very nice. All right. Draft event scandal number one. Ed scandal number one. This is when he buried a clue during the scavenger hunt.
Oh my God. That's so the 2021 was scandal number 3.
Oh, am I missing one?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There was 2 the same season. He did
There were 2 stats.
he did lineup changes twice.
Yeah, because he did
That's
Mike
scoundrel.
White.
There was the Mike
who
White.
had like 8 points.
Mm.
Yeah.
There was a Tyler Boyd one or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. The
So this
Clueberry
was Lake Fred. This is also ESPN.
Yeah, it was like the 2011, 2012.
Yeah, it's got to be.
That's correct.
It's the second thing. Yeah.
That is correct. All right. Kyle drafts Jordy Nelson with the 206.
Oh God.
Who is instantaneously deleted from existence that year with a torn ACL in preseason week 2.
Man,
I don't know. I think 2015. I want to say it's
well,
like
wait,
the biggest gap
I
left
have
in the...
I have a vague memory of this.
Jack's playing the board.
I'm trying to remember. I can like see in my head where this happened, where the draft was, and I thought it was at Ed's apartment.
In Wildwood or in Philly?
No, in Philly, but that doesn't make
So-
sense.
No.
This was 2015. I'll put it up there. This was 2015. That was the year that I moved into our first house, and I believe that draft was at
Yeah.
my house when we
Played
did the
Mario
actual
Kart.
live draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we went golf. We found out on the golf course the next day.
So terrible.
So funny.
Is that worse than if we were to have done a draft in 2019 before the Andrew Luck retirement? I feel like
Andrew
it's
Luck,
worse just based on the fact that Jordy Nelson was round 2 and Andrew Luck probably would have been like round 6.
For sure.
I think it goes both ways though, because Jordy Nelson got hurt, which is like a thing that happens. Andrew Luck just retired at age like 28.
Yeah. It's a tough scene in both scenarios for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we've got the final event here. And this is once again, Jack, I feel like you're in the championship all the time, Jack, but like for the most part,
Yeah,
you're on the
I've
wrong
won it
end of
one
it.
time, only once.
So we've got Kyle defeating Jack in the championship on the back of Alvin Kamara's 6 touchdown game on Christmas Day. What a bad
Merry
beat for you.
Christmas.
Oh God.
It
Well,
wasn't
that
even fun.
was
That was COVID. It was COVID year.
yeah. So it's 2020.
It was
That
2020.
was COVID year. That was 2020. And gentlemen, that's the Hong Kong Fusion timeline that we came up
What a
with.
history.
Yeah, I'm not on here at all, which is I don't know if that's good or bad. Well, it's not good as far as winning stuff. It's also
Yeah.
maybe
On
not
the bright
bad 'cause I
side,
didn't get-
you weren't on here for losing like
yeah.
4 championship games.
Yeah, how many times was I in the championship? Damn. Better than I thought at this.
I mean, you really
I just
stick
don't
to
win.
the motto of if you're not first, you're last. Like you're
There's-
literally
This would
Always in
only
the
be
championship or always Sacco.
this would only be memorable to me, but I'm pretty sure I was playing Jack one season. It was a middle of the season, random week, and I was down by 0.6 points, and RG3 ran for 7 yards, and I won the matchup. It was like the end of the game. There was like 12
yeah.
seconds left, and he ran for no reason. And
They
I
were
got
losing, and
7
it was just like
yards
the last
and
play.
won by
Yep.
0.1. So I'll put my own on there. Thank you.
There you go.
That
We'll
happened
add
in
it.
between this.
within the league.
That happened in between this podcast and the league starting.
We'll add it in post production. All right, we're moving on. Getting into some water bets. These are players that each of us singularly, I feel pretty strongly about, and we'll see where they end up. So, Jack, why don't you kick us off with a one Tony Pollard?
So I will just go all in for this one and say that Tony Pollard will score the most fantasy points at the running back position this year. The most. Total points, not per game, no injury nonsense. Just he's going to be
Straight up
unleashed
points.
without Zeke.
Okay. Well,
You're not
I
afraid
will-
of Deuce Vaughn at all?
No.
That
Not
was
at all.
mostly
I mean,
sarcastic.
yeah. There's no one else.
There really isn't. I agree. I just think a lot of things are going to happen with other running backs for him to be number one overall. But
sure.
I think he'll have a
Okay.
good season.
Got to make it bold.
RB1
though.
overall is, yeah, RB1 overall is definitely bold. I like it. I'm
Not as
going
bold
with
as this next one.
not as bold, that's for sure. Mike Gesicki, everybody.
Who?
Tight end, 1 or 2 for the New England Patriots. Probably
Definitely
2 on
two.
the depth chart. But he'll be
It's
number
important for
1
this next
soon.
part.
And I'm planting my flag that Mike Gesicki will be a top 7 top 7 tight end on the year. I think that his ADP was suppressed just being in a bad offense for the tight end position specifically. He is objectively a terrible blocker. So I think the fact that he was brought into a place like New England, I think they're going to know how to use him. And I think he could catch like 12 touchdowns this year and be the tight end 7. So
Let
that's
me
what
get
I'm
this
going
straight. The
12 touchdowns.
It's not even won a game.
So the tight end who can't block was brought into the place that doesn't throw the ball and has great defense and runs it. And you think he's going to be the tight end 7.
That's correct.
Sound logic?
Thank you for that.
Anything else on Mike Gesicki?
No.
Okay. I will.
I have one thing to add.
Is
He's
it in
gonna
my
have
favor?
12. No, he is going to have 12
Moving on.
touchdowns. Mac Jones has thrown 36 touchdowns in 31 games.
How much has Bailey Zappi thrown?
So that's 18 per season for
All right. Mac Jones
the
has
math.
had Fat Patricia calling his plays for the past 2 years. And Bill O'Brien, while he may be the worst head coach / GM in a single person that has ever been in the NFL, the man can coach an offense. So I'm hoping that Bill O'Brien can unlock something in Mac Jones.
I mean,
They
they're
put
probably
Bailey
gonna-
Zappi on waivers and on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Which to me is a full commitment to Mac Jones. And I
Certainly
think the
is.
Patriots offense will be better than people think.
Yeah, until they signed Colt McCoy.
They also have a man named Matt Forrell. I don't
Who?
know what he does for a living. Matt Coral.
Yeah,
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
Corral was the 6th-round draft pick last year to Carolina, I believe. 3rd round, or not 3rd round, 6th round.
Third
UNC.
round. Yeah, he is in the
Also
NFL.
bad at football.
Okay, so to be clear, I'm gonna take I'll take the other side of the bet for both of your water bets so far,
Yes, you're taking Tony Pollard RB2 or worse,
or
and
worse.
Mike Gesicki tight end 8 or worse.
Both seem like locks.
We'll see.
Um,
But onto a player that we actually know is good.
Yeah. Well, that's part of my argument. Thank you for leading me in. The player is DJ Moore, and I'm hoping that we can actually find the line between, by having a discussion. I'll start it by making the argument. I think he's going to have an AJ Brown like, I don't want to say breakout, but level up.
Ascension.
Yes, from, AJ Brown was very good in Tennessee, but when he came to Philadelphia, something was unlocked, whether that be the system, the quarterback, both probably. I think DJ Moore is going to do something similar. He's, always gets 1,000 yards. You see the talent. I think, coming to Chicago on a better overall team, I think he's going to establish himself. But what the line is, I don't know.
I found 800.5 receiving yards.
For DJ
As a
Moore,
line for DJ Moore.
But it's at minus 125. So let's call it 850.5 yards.
Well,
I'm way more than that.
Well, since Jack and I both called a
For
position and a
finishes, yeah,
number,
that's what I'm
why don't
thinking.
you
So
believe AJ Brown? If you're gonna make the comparison, I believe AJ Brown was a wide receiver 4 or 5 last year. 4
okay.
through 6 for sure.
I will take the under on any of those.
I will also.
I was gonna say just a top 10 wide receiver.
I will take
mean,
the under.
Sure, if you want to not be as bold as us.
I'd like to win the bets that I create,
So do I.
or at least have a
All-
chance at them.
All I'm hearing is that you're not all in on DJ Moore.
I just think there's better receivers.
There
Just
are
tell us
not
that you think
better running
he
backs.
stinks.
DJ Moore's
I
my next
really don't know what
tattoo.
I just said. I just said a whole bunch
Next
of
tattoo.
words that weren't words. Anyway, that was the water bets brought to you by FedEx Ground. For those of you not watching, Tyler's got a FedEx Ground shirt on.
Yeah, it's extremely comfortable.
And they get
If
your
you're not
stuff there
watching,
on time.
you can, feels like a good time. You can check us out on youtube.com. If you search HKF Pod, you should be able to find the video version of this podcast feed. Thanks, FedEx.
Little known fact, you can also view the video if you are playing this on Spotify. So get the video in 2 places. Shout out to FedEx and Mike Evans' family. All right. We are moving on.
DFS Showdown.
Letting that gong ring out. Shout out to GarageBand. Again, I said it last week. I'll say it again. I'll say it every show.
Has enhanced production.
Can't believe it's free. All right. We're back with DFS. And we'll see if Tyler can get his shit together
Oh,
at some
God.
point this year.
Doubt it.
But yeah, for those that aren't familiar with DFS, Jack, you want to lay it out?
Yeah, so we will be using DraftKings to each pick a roster of 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, a flex, and a defense. all under a salary cap of $50,000. Each player gets assigned a dollar amount for their basically combo of their skills and matchup for that given week. For example, Justin Jefferson is $8,800 this week in a good matchup and is a good, some would say good player, others would say best receiver ever. So, in comparison, CMC I think is 8,700. So it's kind of how it goes. The three of us will all pick a team, and whoever has the lowest score will do a punishment to be decided later.
Yeah, so
Send-
last year we the loser had to wear a mask that the other people chose in the following week, but that got expensive, especially because we couldn't figure out how to buy ones that you could return.
Correction,
I
you
think-
could not.
I couldn't figure out how to buy ones that you could return.
I also screwed up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I didn't buy that many. I was always the loser.
That is fair.
But this year, I think we're just going to keep a tally and then do like some sort of payout at the end of the season.
Yes.
Send in your suggestions to hkfpod@gmail.com. You'll hear that again from Satan on the way out.
Mhm.
All right. I'll kick us off here at quarterback. Going Justin Herbert. Chargers are at home. They're against Miami. And Justin Herbert is certifiably good at football.
I went with Jalen Hurts, who is also very good at football, has unlimited upside. Butt push season is back on Sunday. Sorry, tush push season is back on Sunday, and yeah, that's where I started.
I started with Geno Smith home against the Rams. Terrible secondary. I think he's going to carve them up.
I
And he
hope
was
that
pretty
happens
cheap.
as I'm starting him against Kyle. So I'm all for that. Jack, I feel like my running back versus your quarterback could definitely decide which one of us either
Ooh.
wins or loses this, but I went pretty cheap at running back for the most part, going Rashad White. And then maybe he's the Eagles RB1. Maybe he's the Eagles RB4. But he's
Double
priced
Rashad?
less than Boston Scott. And his name is Kenny Gainwell.
Ooh.
Somehow
Rashad.
at 4,200, and Boston Scott was at 4,400, which I do not understand that.
That is interesting.
And we know that we can only play Boston Scott against the New York Giants.
Correct. Interesting choices. I think Kenny Gainwell's an interesting one because you don't really know the role. Although I think he'll be in the 2-minute offense, no doubt.
I'm taking the
Interested
shot.
to see.
Definitely
Interested to
is.
see where else. Yeah. I went with Khalil Herbert. He was also relatively cheap, and I think he is locked into a pretty big workload, at least early in the season. So that was a lock for me. And then I went with P. Ryan. I think he's the RB2 for the Broncos, and will have extra touches this week with Javonte Williams being potentially not full speed, although he looked quite okay in the preseason. So we'll see. Kind of paid down the running back.
I bet we all
We'll
have
see.
really good receivers.
I certainly
Yeah.
do.
I went with two running backs who are playing at home, who are in very favorable matchups. And those are J.K. Dobbins, who I know, the Ravens are going to have this amazing passing attack, but I think in a blowout game, they're going to run the ball more. And I went with Antonio Gibson, who has the passing upside, I think, in a home game against the hapless Cardinal. I don't know how they're an NFL team right now. So I think there's going to be a lot of just keeping the clock rolling, getting that game over with.
Question for the Cardinals is, do they have that fire in their gut?
Will they take the bus to the game?
Better, you don't have that fire, you better light it now. Because they're there to win games. Moving on from that dumpster fire, I'm going Keenan Allen to stack with Justin Herbert. Going Tyreek Hill, the bring back of that game. And talked about him a little bit earlier on my team. Going Deontay Johnson as my wide receiver 3 at home against San Francisco. 5,300, which I thought was a pretty good price for him.
Yeah, that's definitely a good price. I did go with Mike W from the Chargers, so that might be a game breaker for us. I have Justin Jefferson, who is
Yeah, I knew
good,
that was coming. Some
and
might say that.
I have Jahan Dotson, who's only 5,000, and I did see a video. McLaurin looks quite okay, but I think Dotson's like just as good. So
Yeah.
And Tyler mentioned good matchup, so hopefully when they score points, he is part of the reason why.
Yeah, I can imagine McLaurin not being thrust back into, his full
in the
allotment of snaps right away in a matchup where they should have a cake game. Dave, you and I have very similar receivers. I have Keenan Allen and Tyreek as well. That matchup is just too good to. I wanted a piece of it. And then my third
Agreed.
receiver, I went with Chris Olave.
I like that.
I love that.
I toyed with the salary works out. Like Keenan and Deontay are almost the exact same total price as Mike Williams and Olave. I went back and forth with that combo a few times. But I like all those guys. I also have Jahan Dotson. Jack, he's in my flex. And I'll give you my tight end and defense here as well. Tight end, I'm going with Rams wide receiver 1, Tyler Higbee, who I feel like we may all have Tyler Higbee as our tight end. And I went with Manders D against the aforementioned dumpster fire that is the Arizona Cardinals.
Don't have the Commanders defense. But I have Hunter Henry at tight end. The Patriots tight end 1. Not to be confused with Mike Gesicki.
With their tight ends too.
And then I took Chris Godwin. I brought
That's so
back
good.
a Bucks receiver in that Vikings game because I think there's some shootout potential there. That's what I got.
Struggling to understand how you had the salary for Jefferson, Hurts, Chris Godwin, and Mike Williams, but I guess it's due to the running backs.
Yeah.
Zero
I
RB
also,
always.
Always.
except in Hong Kong Fusion draft. I also went with the Rams wide receiver 1, Tyler Higbee, as my tight end. For flex, I went with someone we talked about earlier, Marvin Mims Jr., who I think
Love that.
is going to have immediate impact with Judy banged up, Tim Patrick still looking for some part of his leg. I forget which one he hurt. And
Didn't
Sutton
mention Cortland
stinking.
Sutton.
Well, he just
There
isn't
it
good.
is.
And I really wanted Manders D, but I was like, I just couldn't fit it with salary, so I just had to take the best bad defense that I could afford, and I just went with the Bucks defense, who I don't have faith in, but I needed to put someone there.
I like it.
Maybe they can sack Kirk Cousins, who stands still because he's immobile. I don't know.
Does throw a fair amount of interceptions too.
He does.
I like it.
All right. Well, I like him. Recapping the teams, I've got Justin Herbert at QB, Rashad White, Kenny Gainwell at running back, Keenan Allen, Tyreek, Deontay Johnson, and Jahan Dotson. Those two names are very similar in sounds. Tyler Higbee, Manders D. Jack, you've got Jalen Hurts, Khalil Herbert, and Samaj Perine at running back. It feels like a nickname that we could use. It's terrible. I don't know why I said that. Mike Williams, Justin Jefferson, also Jahan Dotson, and Chris Godwin. Hunter Henry, Patriots tight end 2, and Manders D. Tyler, you've got Geno Smith, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, Keenan Allen, Tyreek, Chris Olave at running back, Higbee at tight end, Marvin Mims in the flex, and Bucks D. And I will just say now, there will be a week this year where Mike Gesicki catches 3 touchdowns, and I will be insufferable.
I was
on
just
this
gonna say, if
podcast.
he's ever somehow just like the tight end 1 on a week, we're not gonna hear the end of it.
Nope, and rightfully so, but that won't happen. So
He'll also still finish the year as the tight end 22.
Well, he's being drafted at like tight end 35, so it's an
So he's
ADP
a
win.
value.
what a value.
Values. Need a
Yeah.
sound drop for a Mike Gesicki specialty. Yeah, so we'll see. 2 listener questions we've got here. One from Matt, who didn't like us enough to stay in our league, but still uses us for fantasy advice. Shout out to Matt, who just had a 3rd child. Shout out to the Bellotti family.
Shout out to
Question
Matt.
was Jalen Waddle or Deebo Samuel for the season. And I'm a firm Waddle here.
I too am a firm Waddle, especially if it's PPR.
I lean Waddle. I just think it's closer than you guys do, I think.
So, do you think Debo can have a better season than he had 2 seasons ago?
Probably not. But I
But
think
he
he can
could.
have
I mean, obviously he's done it before.
right. I think he could score a lot of touchdowns. And I think there's a chance that he's the receiving leader on his team, which I don't see that as an outcome for Waddle.
So you have to choose who are you going with?
I'm still picking Waddle. I just think
And
Debo's upside is higher.
3 for
If they
3,
both-
Jalen Waddle. There you go, Matt. Hope this advice gets to you in time. Second one, this is a rate my team. We've got my co-workers team here. And this is 10-team league, very similar scoring settings to Hong Kong Fusion. So full PPR, 4-point touchdown passing. We've got Jalen Hurts, Breece Hall, Miles Sanders at running back. We've got Diggs and AJ Brown at receiver. We've got that Hurts AJ Brown stack. I've got Mark Andrews at tight end, who fell to the 404.
Wow.
In this league. Shout out to ESPN's ranking list. Following that up with Ayuk in the flex. Got Manders D, who we just talked about, having the Cardinals week 1 matchup. Harrison Butker at kicker. Kickers don't matter, but Chiefs one should be good. On the bench, you've got Christian Kirk, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Antonio Gibson, Kenny Gainwell, Jalen Warren, Marvin Mims, and Zach Charbonnet. How did she do?
Who was the quarterback again?
Hurts.
That would be one Jalen Hurts.
Starters are just solid.
I'd be happy.
Yeah. The receivers are excellent. Tight end, quarterback, excellent. And I think running backs are values.
I
So-
will remain out of this since I helped draft the team, so I'd be biased.
The bench has all the guys that we all like.
It does.
Yeah.
So that was
It
it. I
does
knew
for
you
sure.
helped.
Just based on the players I named.
That being said,
Yeah.
there might not be like depth until like week 7. So
Yeah.
which is fine. I mean, when you're drafting in fantasy, you don't like you need a starting lineup that is going to win weeks. You don't necessarily need, to have tons of depth, but they have guys that can break out. Good team.
Correct. We shall hope that those reinforcements come week 7, because that is coincidentally Miles Sanders and Brees Hall's bye week. So let's go Antonio Gibson and Zach Charbonnet. And maybe, hey, Kenny Gainwell could be the RB1 for the Eagles. Who knows? Anyway, continue to send in listener questions. Jack, what's the email?
It's hkfpod@gmail.com. That's hkfpod@gmail.com.
Very nice. All right, we're moving into the final segment. This is going to be a long episode, by the way.
Bold predictions.
That might be my favorite drop.
Well, anyone that's still sticking around, you can kind of wake them up with that.
Yeah,
It's like
volume.
a little boost.
We need some volume adjustments there, maybe, but
That was one of the Chinese modern loops instead of Chinese traditional. So, a
Love
little
it.
more
it
a
felt
little more
modern.
upbeat. Yeah, totally. I mean, if you're familiar with the music of the Chinese, you'd
Yeah.
know, which I know you are.
I am.
All right. I talked about them in DFS. I'm going Chargers in Miami, putting up 80 total points this week. That is so many points. I just
That
did
is
the
so
math.
many points.
My
That is
my
like a
s-
ton of points.
my snap reaction was that's not that many, and then
That's
It's
so
remembered-
many
I
points.
remembered it's a lot. I agree. So it seems like it's super doable.
That would be tremendous for my Hong Kong Fusion fantasy football team
You've got Herbert, Mike Williams,
and Tyreek Hill.
Same, yeah, that would help me a lot too, because I have Waddle and Mostert.
Yeah.
I'll speak that into existence for you guys, and Jack, you can speak this one to existence for me.
So I think Geno Smith will finish as the quarterback 1 on the week. We've mentioned it already. The Rams stink. Geno Smith has all of the weapons, and I don't really love Josh Allen's matchup. If Mahomes doesn't have Kelsey, he'll probably be exactly the same, but that goes without saying. And then Hurts does play the Patriots, who have, I think, a better than advertised defense. So, Geno, week 1, QB1.
I love it.
I shouldn't have put a line to this, but I just think the Steelers are going to win. I think they're sneakily, they're
Six.
home. I think the Steelers are a good team and better than they're getting credit for. I'm still not totally sold on Purdy. But yeah, I mean, I think they win by a touchdown. So
Are you totally sold on Kirby Puckett?
all signs are pointing that he is an amazing baseball player, and then Kenny Pickett is also a good NFL quarterback going into his second season.
Yes. Kenny Pickett for the
So-
uninitiated.
I was listening to the Late Round podcast today.
Mhm.
Shout out. Find that
Shout
on
out, JJ.
Spotify. Find that on Spotify if you
It's much more
If you
informative
somehow-
than this
if you somehow found us before him.
in a fifth of the
Um,
time. So much more informative in a fifth of the time.
The Steelers last year threw 12 touchdown passes.
Mhm.
That's like incredible. That's how many Mike Gesicki's going to catch this year. It just
He's so
blows my
good.
mind. But I like the pick. I think the Steelers will definitely be much better. I think Pickett will be better. I agree. I think San Fran's still thinking about our Eagles.
Yeah, there's been, Nick Bosa turmoil. I mean, I think he's gonna play, but
Yeah,
He has so
he
much
makes
money as of
makes
right
more
now.
than everyone else. All right,
Well-
that's all I got.
We did it. And football's here. Any final thoughts before heading into week 1?
rest your knee, Kelsey. Take it slow.
Yes. And Cooper Cup, feel free to sit out
Get
week
surgery.
1, go on IR, and then
Get surgery.
come back for like
Never come
week
off.
5 and be the best wide receiver. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Hong Kong Fusion Podcast. Send your mailbag questions to hkfpod@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.